Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever geography you have logged in. I am Pranav Guha Thakurta, founder EduTeam, a platform with over 1 million viewers worldwide. Our mission is to connect schools, universities, while fostering conversations that inspire innovation and excellence in education. It's my honor to introduce our distinguished guest today, Mrs. Anupama Ramachandra, Principal of DPS Electronic City, Bangalore. Mrs. Ramachandra is a Fulbright scholar with a wealth of experience, having taught in both the United States and India. Under her visionary leadership, DPS Electronic City has reached remarkable heights, setting benchmarks in academic excellence and holistic development. Today, we will discussing the transition from schools to universities and beyond, a pivotal stage that significantly shapes students' aspirations and achievements. Mrs. Ramachandra, your vast experience and global perspective are invaluable in understanding how schools can prepare students for this transformative journey. To start our conversation, I would like to ask firstly, ma'am, first of all, welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pranav.
Ma'am, our first question is how do you see the role of schools in preparing students for the academic and social challenges they will face at universities?
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful question. I think the whole idea of taking children K through 12, those are the 14 most precious years of any child. And the school has been entrusted with the responsibility of preparing children for the next stages of life, be it university or for a career and life in general. I think that schools should focus on these skills that we are talking about today. Of course, we are giving them academic progression is happening, and we are trying to teach them all the subjects that are necessary. But the question is, as schools, are we preparing students for life? So, speaking specifically about what we need to do to ensure that children have a smooth transition from schools to universities, I think the children are somehow unable to balance between their academic or social and other responsibilities. So I think that we have to teach children that moving forward to universities, it is going to be a more I would say a stage where they have to explore themselves, they have to explore opportunities. So they have to learn to balance between their social life, personal responsibilities, and of course academic deadlines also. So that is one thing that we should teach children. And the I would also say that when they're moving from school to universities, the most important thing that we should have developed in students is that they should have developed the skill to take ownership of learning. So they have to, by this stage, be proactive. They have to seek help when it is required, and resources are there everywhere. We have very elaborate library resources, we have very erudite teachers and professors, but children never approach them for help. So I think by now we should ensure that children take ownership of their learning, because once they go to universities, nobody is going to be reminding them, did you finish your homework? Tomorrow is the deadline. They have to do things on their own. Having said that, I think I would like to reiterate that a student should have learned how to make use of their professors, of their teachers, because these mentors, they should ensure that they are mentors, because they are the ones who will actually lead them to something bigger after the universities. And in universities, there are a lot of things happening. There are so many clubs, there are so many outside agencies that come to meet the children. So I think students should be oriented towards joining clubs and maybe be a part of volunteer groups. There are a lot of research projects that happen on universities. So I think that should start when they come to the senior secondary school itself, so that they are able to build skills and also networks. Most importantly, students should have learned by now to stay organized, because all of us have only 24 hours. They should have learned how to make calendars, or maybe to-do lists that includes deadlines and timelines, and also that assignments should be taken up very seriously. And of course, they have to be more open-minded and adaptable, because life becomes challenging once they step out of schools. School is a very protected environment, but once they go out to the university, there is a whole lot new challenges and experiences and perspectives. So I think they should be ready to adapt. Last but not the least, I would want all the students who are moving from schools to universities to pay special attention on self care. When I say self care, it is not only about taking care of their physical self. Of course, that is very important. They have to take care of their personal hygiene, be well groomed at all times, because you never know when you're meeting whom. But above and beyond that, I think they need to develop a kind of a habit of exercising regularly, and take care of their emotional and social connections, because it is so important for them to be, calm, and take care of their emotional health and mental health, and maintain a regular a healthy lifestyle.
Very right, ma'am. I think very right. I think I'm very. You have given a very important thing. Generally, in schools, we don't make a to-do list, and nor we take assignments. So, but we definitely we take care. But now the students have to take care of the assignments very carefully, and timelines have to be honored, and new challenges are there. And plus, as you told about the self care, not only physically but mentally also, I think that is very important. And I'm sure this your advice will benefit all the students. Ma'am, now I go to our second question. That is, ma'am, what specific skills or qualities do you believe are most critical for students to develop during their school years to ensure a smooth transition to this university life?
Yeah. So, like I told you, university life is a whole lot different from school life, right? So, in the school life, parents are doting over the parents, and teachers take it as their responsibility to ensure that the students have, finished this, and have you finished your practicals? Tomorrow is the exam. In fact, we call them on the morning of the exam also, to tell, I hope you remember. So, it is not going to be like that. So I think moving to university is the next step of growing up for our students. And most importantly, they should be able to have a clear discrimination between what is right and what is not. Because at that stage in life, all the ethical dilemmas will come into picture. Should we do this? Should we do that? So I would like to give a particular advice to all these students, that once you go to universities, you'll always be faced with a challenge of whether to choose what is easy or to choose what is right. I think they have to make use of their school education and take up the challenge, because doing what is right is slightly difficult as compared to doing what is easy. So I think it is so important for them to set a personality, groom a person that they want to be in adult life. And also, they should always be, the battle that they really have to fight every day is to protect the integrity of their character. That is most important, and I think that will be put to test when they come to universities, because they are completely on their own. They'll be taking a lot of decisions, both personal as well as academic, social, emotional. So I think they have to use all their learning from schools, whatever they have been taught during their foundational years and their senior secondary years. I think they have to put it into use so that they are always moving forward, and they should be ready to take risks also.
Very right, ma'am. Ma'am, I think, in fact, not only going to the universities, now also see at this age of life, we have to make choices, ma'am. What has to be done and what has not to be done. So, and I'm really, I'm saying we're getting a lot of important things for our students. I think whatever you have said, ma'am, it will be very useful for the students who will be passing out their masters also and going to this professional life also, ma'am. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yeah,
our
Pranav,
yeah,
there is just a few more things that I would like to add.
yes, sure,
Uh,
ma'am.
Especially for students who would be passing out of their university and they're getting into the industry, right? So the industry is like the final show, and everything else is like rehearsal, because ultimately we're all preparing ourselves for a career that is going to lead us into our adult life. So I think students have to focus on transferable skills, something that they've learned in their schools and universities. And this is not academic knowledge that anyway happens. Education keeps happening inside the classroom, outside of the classroom. But what they have to focus on is whether they have built transferable skills like communication skills, teamwork, negotiations, problem solving, and how good and strong is their network. Because eventually, wherever they work, they may have studied microbiology, they may have studied law, but ultimately in their career, they will be working in collaboration with people from other fields also. So, how well is their network built is what I would say. And they have to stay up to date with the industry trends. If they are going into some particular field, then they should keep themselves updated about what are the trends in that particular university, and they should face a lot of mock interviews. That is how they will get over their anxiety, because no matter how good you are with your academics, when you face an interview, there will be butterflies in your stomach. So I think they have to face mock interviews so that they know what are the kind of questions that they could be getting. And of course, there is no substitute to being proactive and being resilient. When I say being resilient, digitally resilient, emotionally resilient, socially resilient, and never forget to be curious. You should always have a mind that is seeking answers. That sense of inquiry should always be there. And they also have to develop a very professional outlook, because students of today are very casual about everything. So much so, it is a habit that even when they meet somebody very formal and senior, they will tend to say hi. So I think students have to make it a habit to be professional, to be formal, where they have to dress up, how they have to address the other person. I think they have to be a little mindful of all these things, and I'm sure success will be theirs.
Sure, ma'am. I'm really impressed, ma'am, by like I think all of us. I think not only our own industry, other industry updates also we should have. And ma'am, very important you have said mock interviews, ma'am. Ma'am, this really helps so that when you go and face the real world, it really helps in many ways. Whatever shortcomings we have here, we can fine tune ourselves. And being proactive, that I think everyone can learn from Mrs. Anupama Ramachandra. Mrs. Ramachandra has been helping Edu TV when no one knew us also, ma'am. And she's a very proactive lady. We have seen resilience, ma'am, and sense of inquiries and queries. Be curious. I think this is a very, very important that will definitely take students to the right place. They can get a lot of data by because of being curious and because of curiosity. And definitely dress up to the occasions. So if you're going for a professional meeting or whatever it is, So dress up the occasion. I'm sure, ma'am, students, not only students, I think this can be a good input for professionals also, and students will be joining the industry. Ma'am, now my final question. Just a second. Ma'am, with the increasing emphasis on global education and diverse career paths, how can schools better align their curriculum and guidance programs to meet the evolving expectations of universities and the job market? I think half of the question you have already answered before only, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. See, no matter how progressive we call ourselves as our own schools, I come from one such school where, of course, we are a little ahead of our times, I would say. But even then, what I strongly believe is we need a lot of help from universities and from the industry to orient the children about the choices available. Even today, Pranav, unfortunately, there are many parents who know nothing beyond engineering, medicine, and law. These are the only career options that they know of. And anything else we suggest, your daughter is, let us say, good in economics. Why don't you allow her to pursue that? They'll say, what will she do with economics? So I think we have to bring in a lot of universities into the school instead of just giving them theoretical knowledge. It's very easy to share brochures and some messages on our school website or portal. But I think what we should do is we have to bring in universities into the school. We should let them interact with our students, with our parents, so that they are able to make an informed choice. Right? Today, if you are good at photography, you can make a very good living out of that. But there are many parents who still believe it's just a hobby. What are you going to do for a living? So I think that we have to equip our students with a lot of information. And today, fortunately, there are many, many organizations that offer short-term internships for school students also. So you have to send, I sent a bunch of our children to Biocon, which is in Bangalore, very close to our school. So they would always say, we'll work anywhere but in a lab, because they would think that working in a lab is like working in a school lab, because that is all they had seen. But once they went to Biocon and when they saw state of the art labs that they have, it just opened up gates for them. And they came back and said that, ma'am, we would love to work in a facility like that. So I think we have to take our children out of the school walls and bring the industry into the school walls. And many universities have been very kind enough, both in India and abroad. They come to our school at regular intervals, and we have career fairs. We invite parents, and children are allowed to go and ask any kind of questions, about the fee structure, about the living arrangements there, and in how many semesters can they finish. So our children, I feel, are more focused and informed than we were. And I think we have to continue this practice. Colleges, industry, and schools and universities should all work together. That is when we will be making a difference to students choosing their next step forward.
Very right, ma'am. I'm really impressed, and Mrs. Ramachandra's advocacy for student welfare is tremendous. I think all our viewers, I would like to disclose one thing. I would like to tell one thing. She has got a fractured hand today. Still, when she heard it is for students' welfare, students' career, as the exams are approaching, she gave us time. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we look forward. We wish you a very speedy recovery. And we
Thank you so
look
much.
forward for your inputs, advices for the students, parents. Now, I think we are able to get good advice from you for the corporate people also. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Pranav. Thank you, EduTV. Always a pleasure.